Maria's hands trembled as she gripped the mop handle, the purple bruises on her wrists still tender from 3 nights ago. She'd gotten good at hiding through long sleeves, strategic positioning, quick movements that kept her arms close to her body. But tonight, as she cleaned the gleaming marble floors of Hartwell Industries' 42nd floor executive suite, exhaustion made her careless. The elevator dinged behind her, and she tensed. It was nearly midnight and no one should be here. She'd specifically chosen these late hours to avoid the executives, to remain invisible in their world of power suits and corner offices. But as she turned, she found herself face to face with the one person she'd hoped never to encounter, CEO Jonathan Hartwell himself. At 52, Hartwell commanded respect without saying a word. His tailored navy suit, silver-streaked hair, and penetrating blue eyes had graced the covers of Fortune and Forbes. He'd built his tech empire from nothing, they said, and his reputation for ruthless efficiency was legendary. Maria had seen him in passing, a blur of expensive fabric and purposeful strides, but never this close, never when she was vulnerable. "I'm sorry, sir," she whispered, immediately stepping back and tucking her arms behind her. "I'll finish this floor and move on." But Hartwell wasn't looking at her face. His gaze had fixed on her wrists, where the sleeves of her cleaning uniform had ridden up, revealing the mottled purple and yellow marks that circled her skin like twisted bracelets. The silence stretched between them, heavy and uncomfortable. Maria's heart hammered against her ribs. She knew what this meant: questions she couldn't answer, attention she couldn't afford, possibly losing the only job that kept her and her 8-year-old daughter fed. "What's your name?" His voice was quieter than she'd expected, lacking the commanding tone she'd heard echoing from boardroom meetings. "Maria Santos, sir." "How long have you worked here, Maria?" "2 years, sir." "Night shift?" She kept her eyes down, focusing on the geometric patterns in the marble beneath her feet. Hartwell stepped closer, and she instinctively flinched, a reaction she immediately regretted when she saw his expression change. Something shifted in his eyes, a recognition that made her stomach clench with fear. "Those bruises," he said gently, "they're not from work, are they?" Maria's throat constricted. She'd rehearsed this moment in her mind countless times, so what she'd say if anyone never noticed, ever asked. The lies came easily now. She was clumsy, had fallen downstairs, walked into a door in the dark. But standing before this powerful man whose company employed thousands, whose decisions affected lives across continents, she found herself unable to speak at all. "I won't ask you to explain," Hartwell continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "But I want you to know something, Maria. You're safe here. While you're in this building, on company grounds, you're under my protection. Do you understand?" She nodded, still unable to meet his eyes, unsure what his words really meant. "I'm going to give you my personal card," he said, reaching into his jacket. "My direct line is on there, not the office number, not an assistant. If you ever need help, if there's ever an emergency, you call me, day or night." Maria stared at the elegant business card he extended toward her, afraid to take it. In her world, promises from powerful people were usually empty, designed to make the promiser feel better rather than actually help. "Sir, I can't." "This isn't your problem." "It became my problem the moment I saw those marks on your wrists," he said firmly. "Maria, I grew up watching my mother cover bruises with makeup, making excuses for black eyes, apologizing for things that were never her fault. I was 12 years old and completely powerless to help her. I'm not powerless anymore." The raw honesty in his voice made her look up finally, and what she saw in his eyes wasn't pity, it was understanding, and something else. Determination. "Take the card," he said softly. With shaking fingers, she accepted it, the heavy cardstock feeling foreign in her work-worn hands. "There's something else," Hartwell continued. Starting Monday, you're being transferred to day shift maintenance. Same pay, but you'll work when the building is full of people, when there are security guards on every floor, when there are witnesses. Sir, I don't think it's not a request, Maria. It's happening. His tone brooked no argument, but there was kindness beneath the authority. And Maria, my head of security, Frank Morrison, will be expecting you. He's a good man, former police detective. He'll keep an eye out. Over the following weeks, Maria discovered that Jonathan Hartwell was a man of his word. The day shift was exactly as he'd promised, bustling with activity, surrounded by people. Frank Morrison, a burly man with kind eyes and a gentle manner, made a point of checking in with her regularly, always finding reasons to be nearby when she worked. But the real surprise came 3 weeks later when her supervisor approached her with news that left her speechless. She'd been selected for the company's education assistance program, with full tuition coverage for night classes at the community college. I didn't apply for any program, Maria told him, confused. Says here you did, he replied, consulting his clipboard. Computer programming track. Classes start next month. That evening, as she cleaned the executive floor now during daylight hours when the space felt entirely different, she found Hartwell waiting by the elevator. The education program, she said without preamble. You're smart, Maria. I've watched you work. You organize tasks efficiently, you notice details others miss. You solve problems creatively. Those are exactly the skills we need in our tech division. Why are you doing this? Hartwell was quiet for a long moment, gazing out the floor-to-ceiling windows at the city spread below them. Because someone should have done it for my mother, but no one did. Because power isn't worth anything if you don't use it to help people who need it. And because I believe in second chances for everyone. Maria felt tears threatening, but for the first time in years, they weren't tears of fear or pain. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me yet, he said with a slight smile. Programming classes are tough, but I have a feeling you're tougher. 6 months later, Maria stood in that same executive suite, but everything had changed. She wore professional attire now, a crisp blouse and tailored pants that Hartwell had quietly arranged for through the company's professional development budget. The bruises were gone, replaced by confidence that grew stronger each day. She'd found the courage to leave, to take her daughter and start over in a company-sponsored apartment complex where other employees lived, where neighbors looked out for each other. Her programming courses were challenging but exhilarating, opening up possibilities she'd never dared imagine. Your first project presentation is next week, Hartwell said, reviewing the tablet she'd handed him containing her preliminary app design. This user interface for the employee assistance program, it's intuitive, compassionate. You've thought about the user experience from a very personal perspective. I know what it's like to need help and not know how to ask for it, Maria replied. I wanted to create something that would make it easier. Hartwell nodded approvingly. The board is going to be impressed. But more importantly, this is going to help people. Real people with real problems. As Maria gathered her materials to leave, she paused at the door. Mr. Hartwell, that night when you found me here, why didn't you just call security? Report it to HR? That would have been the normal thing to do. He considered her question carefully, because normal responses to extraordinary situations rarely create extraordinary outcomes. You needed someone to see you as a person, not a problem to be managed. And honestly, Maria, helping you has reminded me why I built this company in the first place, here not just to create wealth, but to create opportunities for people to change their lives. The elevator doors opened, revealing Frank Morrison, who had become not just a security presence but a genuine friend and mentor. Ready for tonight's study session? he asked Maria with a grin. "Wait until you see the practice problems I found for your advanced algorithms class." As they descended together, Maria reflected on the strange turns life could take. A year ago, she'd been invisible, working in shadows, surviving day by day. Now she was building a career, raising her daughter in safety, and creating technology that would help others find their way out of difficult situations. The elevator reached the lobby, and through the glass walls, she could see her daughter Sophia waiting with Mrs. Chen from the after-school program. Sophia was laughing, her backpack covered with patches from various school clubs she'd joined since they moved to their new neighborhood. "Mama," Sophia called out, running to embrace her. "I got an A on my math test." "And guess what?" Mr. Hartwell said. "The company sponsors a summer coding camp for employees' kids. Can I apply?" Maria looked up to see Hartwell emerging from the second elevator, briefcase in hand, heading home to his own family. He caught her eye and smiled, and not the practiced smile of a CEO, but the genuine expression of someone who had found something valuable in an unexpected place. Sometimes kindness appears in boardrooms and corner offices. Sometimes it wears expensive suits and makes decisions that change lives with the stroke of a pen. And sometimes, it simply sees a person who needs help and decides that power without compassion is just noise. Maria Santos had learned that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear tailored navy suits and carry business cards with direct phone numbers. Sometimes they understand that the measure of success isn't just profit margins and stock prices, but the number of lives touched, the opportunities created, and the hope restored. As she walked toward her daughter and their new life, Maria kept Jonathan Hartwell's business card in her wallet, not because she needed it anymore, but because it reminded her that even in the darkest moments, someone might be watching, someone might care, and someone might be powerful enough to help.